All right. Ooh, didn't get the puzzles going. Let's get that. Oh, that's not what I meant to do. Uh, there we go. Let's go to puzzle survival. And we're going to go ahead and get started with this. This is just a warm up. The main event is going to be some Fischer Najdorf games. I'm going to go through this a little bit fast here, especially at the beginning, as we just plow through the back row mates that we inevitably will see. Wait, what's the difference? Why don't both of these lead to back row mate? No, it's white to move, so white moves this way. I was looking to move the black rook. Guess I was going too fast. They do have a hanging queen. Looks promising. Let's just take it. This square here looks quite good. That's in fact mate, because of the epilogue mate. This is mate. Queen in the face. Another queen in the face mate. Is this mate? It is, because the bishop is pinned. Okay, it is mate here. This is interesting. We could go like takes, check. They can block. We can actually just win this piece. Takes. We are up an entire piece. I think that's the way we're going to do this. We'll win the piece and be happy. We don't have to be so greedy. Check here with the bishop. King moves over, queen comes down and mates. They can block, but they just have to give up the queen to block. White to move. This queen move. King runs away. Queen check. King runs away. Doesn't quite seem to work. But what's better is queen check. We don't check down here. We just mate. Yeah, I guess this is mate, right? Sounds good. Welcome everybody. Looks like we have a few people here. Takes. Check. It feels like it has to be queen takes, rook takes, and then what is the follow-up? Knight f4 doesn't seem to do enough. Okay, never mind. The answer is take, check, double attack on the knight. That's the actual answer. Almost got pulled in by other stuff. Alright, we got the chess.com back row mate. That's mate because of the pawn. We queen with check. Check. Blocks. Pulls the defender away. Oh, wait. I didn't look at there. They have that at the end of whatever we do. So now we have to be a little more careful. Okay, so check. Only can block with the bishop, the queen. We check on a1. They move the king to b2. We take the queen with check. And then we don't lose to the back row mate because it's check and we'll get a move. That, check, and then now we can move, stopping the mate. Daniel's here. You missed yesterday's stream. How dare you? It's okay. We soldiered on without you. But I'm happy to see you today. Check. Close to mate, but it's not quite. They can block. We take. Then they can block with the queen over here. And what's the material after that? We are just tied? It's very interesting. Check, blocks, check, queen blocks, check with the bishop, king has to take. I don't quite see it all the way through. I'm going to do this move anyway. And now that we're closer, what is the answer? Oh, yeah, the answer is this is actually mate. The king can't take, of course. Good afternoon, my friend. Day off work and figured I will watch you so I don't have to do my own puzzle rush survival. Chris, you still have to do your own. Awesome, that's right. Daniel filled out the Google form. Cool. I have a person that I already have scheduled, Daniel. And so probably like next week sometime I'll get a hold of you for that. I'm having some health troubles that are really sapping my energy, so I'm hoping to get those under control over the next few days. That's the hope. Here is mate. I have not played a real game of chess in like 3 weeks now, maybe, and it's really bothering me. Like I just can't. I don't have the brain power. I can barely do these puzzle rushes. It's been kind of bad. Okay, so this check, king goes there. We could go here, and that would be mate. No, it wouldn't. The queen would block. So maybe we do want to go here first, but then they push over, and it's kind of like, what do we have? I don't see how we win this. I think we do have to take here. Moves over. Check. Queen goes there. And then we have this move, which is really problematic for them. You're kidding me. Your health is most important. No rush. Well, thank you. Appreciate that. Please keep on doing your podcast. Enjoy listening to them on my way to work in Tracy, California. All right, I live in California. I have not heard of Tracy, California. Where are we talking about? Is that Northern California, Central? I don't think it's LA because I haven't heard of it. Here. And when we trade, we're so far down material. Just winning that queen is not nearly enough. We need a mate here. So here. Then what? Weird. This one looks so easy. Like, just ridiculously easy. And my poor rattled brain is like, I don't see it. Queen f5 looks so obvious. King h6. Oh, it still works. It's not just winning the queen. That wins the queen and mates. Okay, so I stopped right here and went, it's not enough to win the queen. But that's actually mate. Okay, north of Stockton. Cool. I have not been up there myself. I would like to sometime, though. I've kind of decided that there's something I want to do, which is going to sound kind of bananas. I really think I want to try to play in the senior state championship of each state. I think that would be really fun. I know it sounds kind of bananas, but I'd like to do it. Okay, so this is a double check that can't be stopped, right? Yeah. Okay, this would be mate, but the queen is covering it. It's not quite going to work. We can go here, check. Only move is to come out this way. If we move the rook over, our only move is to go here. And then, okay, so rook's there, king's there, queen is there. We can't go to h5. They would take us. We can go, though, to e6. And then when the king moves down, we can go down to h2. So this still works. Okay, so we go here, here. Okay, I'll take a free rook on the way. No chess scene unless you visit Sacramento or Bay Area. Yeah, that stinks. I will say this, though, Chris. You can start your own club. This is one of the things that I learned from my podcast, is that a bunch of people in small areas have just said, screw it, I'm starting my own club. Now, it's kind of a pain because there's less people. You really have to be dedicated. You have to be willing to, like, say I'm going to be at this spot and then be there every week for weeks until people start showing up. But if you're willing to do that level of commitment, it seems like it can work. No guarantees, but it seems like it can work. Like there's my brain's broken right now, but a very wonderful woman who came on the podcast was talking about she set up a whole club in the Death Valley area, and it's doing quite well. And you just wouldn't think that that would be a place where there would even be enough people for a scene. Okay, so check here. King has to go here. I was looking at like maybe queen to g4. And then probably best move is for the king to continue running. I don't see obviously how to deal with that. I think I'm going to make that move knowing that this is like in a game I would be pretty happy to make this move. The question is how to... Oh, I fell up this way, don't I? Yeah. Obviously. Wow, my brain is really hurting. All right. Fried Foxy's here. What's up? Feels like 50 today? No, man. This feels like 30. My brain is really struggling today. Okay. We've got check. We've got this would win just from capturing material. If they go back somewhere, they can only go to actually this one. And if they go to there, we can take here with the bishop. Cause a lot of problems. So I think we're pretty happy with this. So, yeah, in fact, bishop takes. They have to give up the queen. We're doing quite well. Okay. 30 knocked me out the other day. I've had those days, man. It's really bad. I had one day where I only got like 23. Admittedly, I was like going fast. One was a misclick, but still it was like, what happened? Okay, this one I don't immediately see. Oh, I think I do now. There's this idea of coming into G3 and then that's unstoppable. And yes, that looks unstoppable. Okay. White to move. What about check here to lure the king? There's no way to follow through, unfortunately. So if we make the more obvious move of one of these two moves, we do pick up that rook. Is that enough? Probably not, because then they immediately get our bishop, threatening the queen. We would have two rooks and a queen against two bishops and a queen. Maybe that would be okay. Those bishops are haunting, though. They look so strong. We also have some possibilities. This idea of the bishop's not backed up, though. So which way do I want to do this? So I want to go here or here? I'm going to go... Let's look at this first. Here, takes. No check. I'm even worried about getting checkmated. Oh, wow. This is super strong. I thought it was just taking a piece. It's also discovered check and real close to checkmate. So I think we need a new plan, and I think I see it. I didn't even consider coming out for some reason this direction. Then they have to go there, then they go here, and we get mate. So I had to find the different path. Black to move. Our pawns are going up. If we go here and force the trade, their king is there. We move. We're gonna queen here, so we're covering their queening spot. So do we get there first? Bang, bang. Oh, wait. Yeah. Here, moves, takes, gone. Moves over, goes, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, we barely win. So this is a cool one where you don't really have to be able to calculate it all the way. You just have to see the keys. And the key is when we get there one move sooner, we win their queen. All right, we got to 30. That's a relief. 30 is like not disaster. 40 is decent, and 50 is amazing. That's my metric. Okay, we can go here for check. Don't love it. King can just wander away. I like that the queen is cutting off so many squares currently. But they're up. How are they up this much material and I'm going to be winning? So I'm assuming it must be rook b3. They have 3 potential squares. Nope, 2. 2 potential squares. Let's say they go to the most challenging one. Looks like I can probably go queen c2. Then they're having to move over. Then I'm coming in here. Then they're going there. Then I'm going here. It looks like we do get there. What did I say? Isn't this just mate here? I don't know what I said, but that's mate. So I don't know. In your Najdorf game replay a couple days ago, the game with Fischer, the bishop e2 won Fischer's game. Ender was a rook second c3. You ended with bishop takes c3, queen f2, but didn't look at the line with rook takes e2 is a cool line. Okay, good to know. If I take and they take, I have this move, which only move there. It does not look like I get mate, right? Takes, takes, check, discovery. Goes here, I take here, and we are down a pawn. Okay. Takes there, which is check. They move over, we take the rook. And threatening to go to e2. What if he goes to e1? If we were to go takes with the knight, I would still win. Okay. I believe this works. Here, discovery, there, and we're doing well. Queen in the face mate, except they are checking us. So the question is, what's the best way to handle this? I think it's probably to take with the pawn, because then we're threatening the bishop and we have another threat on them. If they then try to cover the mate, they're going to lose to losing a bishop. We can go like this and this, and we're winning. Okay. F7 is certainly looking vulnerable, but I don't know what we can do about that just yet. It does look like we can go here. It's a fork. They kind of have to take. We take. Then they take with the queen. We are even on material, and then we get to come in here, check, and then take here. Now before we stop and say that's good, does black have anything here? It doesn't look like it. Black has nothing that I see, so this should work. Okay. 34 is not bad. We've got this check, and that's mate. Wow, hard to believe that's mate. Okay. Check here, wins the rook. Gets checkmated. So if we move that bishop, we are getting checkmated. So we better not move it unless we've got a good idea, and we do. We can go here, check, moves over, wins, and there's nothing that can block the check. Well, nothing that can permanently block the check. My bad. Okay. Idea for future streams. Viewer arena where you participate. Yeah, that sounds fun. Definitely. Viewer arena meaning like we're all playing. And this is back to your idea, right, of having the Chess Journeys Club, which is a great idea. I said I was going to do it. I am going to do it, and somehow it totally slipped my mind. But yeah, I like that idea. Okay, I think this is unstoppable mate. They can't check here. If they take here, it's just mate. Yeah, this looks like unstoppable mate. Yo, what's up, bro? If you send a match, can you analyze it? Care, how are you doing? I don't know what you mean by that. If you mean if you send me a game, will I analyze it on stream? Definitely sometimes. Today I already have a plan. So probably not today, but we definitely enjoy looking at games. We're going to be looking at some Fischer games in a minute here. If I go here, this is not quite unstoppable because they can push there. But what if I just go here first? Then I am threatening unstoppable mate. But that's not unstoppable either because the queen can go here. But if the queen does go there, we win a rook. I mean, we win a piece. Is that enough? It certainly looks good. The other question, though, is this is very scary. But if I'm here, then they can't do that. One other problem. This check is also scary. I go here. Here. I am quite on the run now. Might be getting mated. So let's see if we can find something a little bit more sudden is the word I tend to use. Takes, there, takes. We are losing. Oh, no. Oh, right. So if the queen moves off of that diagonal, they lose the rook. So it looks to me like we could take the bishop. And then if they take with the queen, we win the rook. And there's nowhere really for the rook to go. What? Okay, let's look at that one. That shocks me. Okay, so if I go here for the unstoppable mate. Yeah, I don't understand why they didn't just push that pawn. So now we have to go even deeper and look at it with the analysis. So if I go here, why not this move? This move I thought looked just devastating. We can play rook takes h3 now. They come in and check. Oh, yeah, the queen is covering that. We already knew that. Yeah, and I guess now if we take, then it's mate. So it's the same idea, but we had to change the order. Fair enough. Fair enough. Rook takes h3. Yeah. That's what I thought, but looks like we got the order wrong. Oh well. Okay. Let's not miss another one here. Here, and this pawn is the thing that's winning this game. Okay, so that's 38. Here, it tries to come out this way. Then we just push. Comes over to try to stop it. We just push. And now, oh, and I can't even come over to there. Wait, maybe I just go here first. King comes over. King gets over in time. If I go here, the king could go there though. Here. And the king also gets over. So maybe that doesn't work. But if I go here and the king comes over, maybe then I'm just taking here. Yeah, pushing first just doesn't seem like it works. So let's go here first. Yeah, that's the answer was pushing. I couldn't clearly calculate that one to the end, which was... Okay, that doesn't seem like a good idea. But that is a good idea. Okay, so I can't just push. I can go here. And then they can't go here or here. So they're sheltered over to there. Then I push. And they can come back over and cover this, but the rook's already there. That's what I missed. Yes, pass pawns definitely need to be pushed. That was my first instinct. But then I didn't do it. So it's okay. I got 38. It's not the best. It's not the worst. I can accept that middle ground position and say that is fine. Okay, so let's move on to the next part of our day. which is looking at some Fischer games. Do that next. Okay. So let's try to pick an interesting game, not a bishop g5 line. A whole bunch of this is very weird. I'm looking at this chess-based database that seems to have all of Fischer's Sicilian games, and there's not that many. I feel like something was missed here, but I don't know what's the problem. Okay, so we're gonna go to. All right, in fact, I'm even gonna look just to make sure. Like B97, what does that mean exactly? Go code B97. That's the poison pawn. Okay, so we're not doing B97. Good. We learned something useful. Let's see. B92. Have we looked at this one? I don't think so. Oh, that was 112 moves. We're not gonna do that. That is a lot of moves. I think we did this game against Unsicker, so we won't do that one. Here's an interesting one against Pilnik. It is 40 moves, so it's a bit long, and that might be too long. We'll have to see. Maybe I will regret that decision. What is your favorite opening for white? I kind of know what you play as black. With white, I tend to play d4 and often go into the exchange variation of the QGD. Yes, no blitz. You check what he plays against the Sozin. I'm not sure what he plays against the Sozin. Let's see what we got here. So we know the first couple moves. Oh, I guess I should be making the moves. Otherwise, I don't get credit. So takes, knight here. Okay. Okay, cool. I'm happy to see another bishop e2 line. We talked about this against bishop e2. Do we play e5 or do we play e6 and why? This is the biggest piece of the Najdorf. Which one do you play and why? Let's see what you guys come up with. We've got e5 from Daniel Lando, but no why, so it doesn't count. Why are we playing e5? And only one person's willing to put in a guess of e5 or e6. Okay, that's fair. Chris will play e5 also. Okay. Less pressure on your center. Okay, so it sounds like you're saying you would rather play e5 generally, but against some lines you feel compelled to play e6 because there's too much pressure on the center. And yeah, I think that's exactly right. If they have a bishop on g5, they can take the knight, and then we lose our control of d5. And by playing e5, we've given up some control of e5. But a positive of e5 is we're controlling other squares. We're kicking this knight. And we are going to control d5 with the knight and with the c6 bishop. Okay. So they moved their knight away. So what do we do now? Anyone know? It'd be cool to see a Sozin game with Fischer as black. Yeah, I think we'll try to do that. I'll look up what the echo code is for that, since he apparently prefers that. Yeah, he definitely prefers it with white. That's why I didn't even sort Fischer games in the Sicilian by white, because I know he just plays the Sozin every time, and that does not sound that interesting to me. You know, seeing one or two of those would be fine. Bishop e6 is technically wrong. Now, it's not a bad move, and I won't be shocked if Fischer plays it. But modern theory does not like bishop e6 here. And if we can remember back from, I don't know, like a week ago, the reason is because early f4, f5 is very annoying. Once you've already committed your bishop to e6, that can be frustrating. Knight to c6 to develop minor piece and fight for center. That is a great move based on opening principles. We may put our knight on c6, but we are just as likely to put it on d7, so we don't want to move the knight just yet. Fischer did play bishop e6. Yeah, exactly. And we saw with theory that it was wrong. But it was only wrong because Fischer and his compatriots ended up showing us why it was wrong. And wrong is a strong word, right? It just allows something that's pretty challenging to deal with. So the general rule of thumb was we copy them. So they have their bishop developed to e2, so we're going to go to e7. And Fischer did that as well. They castle, we're going to castle. And now that they've played bishop e3 and castled and done all this, f4, g4, I think we can see this as white. That's a little bit scary to chuck f4, g4 out now that we've developed this way. So now we're perfectly happy to develop the bishop that controls d5. The best guess here is to make the wrong move. Yeah, I was totally happy making bishop e7 and knowing that I was wrong because I know that's theory. Okay, so our opponent plays f3. That looks weird to me. Like, why? Why are you playing f3? Is it to support g4 or something? I'm a little confused on that. And so now the big question is, like, how are we arranging our queen, our knight, and our rook? What are we going to do with these? And potentially b5 at some moment along with b4. So we now are trying to wrestle with, like, what's the order? I say we develop the knight, and I am not fully clear where the knight goes. Generally, the knight goes to d7. And so I'm kind of examining, like, from what I know about this opening and from the position, where do I want the knight? If the knight goes to d7, its next squares are to c5 and to b6. b6 might look kind of lame, but sometimes we put the queen on c7 and bring the knight up to c4, making some threats in here. Also from b6, it's supporting ideas like a d5 pawn push, perhaps. I think I'm going to say d7. It's kind of out of the way. We can put the rook on c8, the queen on c7. It seems reasonable to me. Is d5 premature? I think so. I think, let's see, can we get away with it? Maybe. d5, they take, we take, they take. Looks like we can get away with it where we'll just trade pawns, but why? Like, why do we want to trade pawns here? Maybe your answer is like, well, this is a backwards pawn. Let's get rid of it as soon as possible. But this is a pretty solid setup. I think we should develop first. That would be my theory. I was thinking d5 due to we are controlling d5. Yeah, but this d pawn's not bad. It's controlling c5. It's bolstering e5. Like I'm not worried about this pawn yet. And I'm looking at my board and going, I haven't even developed most of my pieces. Like, let's do that. So I'm going to put the knight here, knowing it could be c6. So ChessBase says that my move was the theoretical move, but queen c7 is totally fine. So what's up with this queen move? What? White is moving very strangely to my eyes. Like, what is it? Are they trying to do like some full-on assault on the king side and getting the pieces ready? Just the slowest king side attack ever? Is the theory that they're really just want the rook on d1 and that's the best place for the queen? Maybe. I still think we just developed a knight, and I still think probably d7 is good. I'm not sure I agree I want to get my knight out. Interesting. I think I do. I think I want my knight out because I want to connect the rooks. I want my rook on c8. Okay. Apparently this is the best move, and not surprisingly, they played rook c1 or d1. So our question now it feels like we've got lots of choices. We can move the rook over. Doesn't do anything, but it's just a good spot. We could start trying to mess things up with b5, b4. I don't think we want to go here. It seems like it messes up our plan. We could even bring this rook over. If this was my game, I would play rook a to c8. I'd say the biggest lesson I've learned about the b5 move is when we're castled on the opposite sides, b5, b4 is super destructive. When we're castled on the same side, b5 followed by a4 by my opponent is very problematic and annoying. So I think we're just going to move the rook over. Okay, my move's okay, and b5 is the best move. Interesting. Looking like a Greek gift attack. Wow. I think a bunch of moves are good here. Yes, I agree, Daniel. The engine said that my move was fine, and b5 is also fine. I guess a question here is... also, I think, Daniel, a good point that you're making is that in these bishop e2 lines, a lot of moves are good, right? These are not as sharp as some of the other lines. The bishop e2 line, like in the materials I'm looking at, it's classified as one of the positional Sicilians, and oftentimes in positional games there is a little bit more leeway. There are more fine moves. I don't know. I'm kind of waiting to see, like, what is white even doing here? Are they really trying to double on the d file? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. Or are they looking after b4 to be able to drop the knight back to d1? If we play b4, can they put the knight on d5, I guess is a question. Take with, say, the bishop. They take with a pawn. I don't think they gain too much there. I don't know. I'm torn. I'm torn between b5 and rook c8. I'm learning with you. Never play Sicilians. Yeah, I'm learning too. I'm trying my best to both learn and then impart on you all what little I have learned. I might sound like I'm an expert of the Sicilian at moments, but all I'm doing is parroting the knowledge that I have gained from other sources. I don't have a deep understanding of the Sicilian. All right, I think we're going to play rook a to c8. This is a very normal looking move. It is a mistake according to the engine. Not one of the many fine moves in the position. A straight up mistake. And the reason was, what did it say? Queen f2. Which I don't understand how that refutes it. But I guess let's try b4. I mean, b4 seems like a reasonable move in this position. Okay. Says my move's okay. Like I said before, knight b6 is a very common idea. It's now being hit twice. We certainly have to do something about this. And I would think moving the knight into c4 looks quite strong. If we look at that, look what we're hitting. We're hitting the rook. We're hitting a bishop, and we're hitting this pawn. And if they trade, we're just putting the bishop there in a decent spot. So this seems like a really annoying knight, and they'll almost have to trade, and then we have the two bishop advantage. So that's something pretty good. My move is okay, but they would rather put the rook there. That's so weird to me. What? Okay. I mean, I guess the theory is we're still getting the two bishops, and now if we take back with the rook, we can just double on the c file with the rook in front, which is what we would rather do. The rook is defending d6 a second time. I'll be very shocked if the answer is take with the queen here. I think we're going to take with the rook. Okay. And they come in and fork me, which is fine, because we know the knight likes to jump in here. So question, what do we do? What do we do with this knight? Do we, A, move the queen and lose the exchange? B, take with the bishop? Or C, take with the knight? What do you guys think? I know what I would do here. I'm very curious to hear what you all would do here. Oh, that's the problem. It's not on play. Got it. I couldn't figure out why my stream was lagging so far, but it's not. All right, what are you guys going to do here? How are you taking? Or are you not? Are you just saying, I don't need that exchange? Take the knight, but not sure which. Okay. Take the knight with knight to save bishop pair. Okay. So I think that's a reasonable idea. We have the bishop pair. It is a pretty big advantage. So it would be nice to hold on to it. I can get behind that. Very partial to the bishop pair. In most of these positions, we end up taking with the bishop, because when the pawn takes back, like if we had taken with the knight, then the bishop has to move. Say the bishop moves to f5. Maybe they can play g4. Maybe they play g4 later. The bishop just doesn't look like it's doing that great. If the bishop has to move backwards, it's not doing that great. So I think it's a really interesting question of, is the bishop pair so good here it's worth having kind of a worse bishop? Or is it better to just give up the bishop? We have this pretty decent knight here that's immediately hitting d5. I feel like in most positions, they take with the bishop. So we'll see what he does. Nope. Engine says my move is fine, but that this is better here. So I think it's a really interesting question. And I think what's important is that I think every position is slightly different, and we really have to be careful every time and not say bishop always takes or knight always takes. I think I see usually knight takes, but this position looks interesting. By taking with the knight, we're able to put the bishop on f5 and immediately hit the c2 pawn. Maybe now they have to back it up. If the bishop gets attacked, it can probably drop back to g6 and still harassing that queen side. So I think I'm pretty tempted to put the bishop on b5. There's also a part of me that says, what about c8 to b7, going on a pretty nice diagonal over here? So like bam, bam, going on this diagonal, hitting this pawn immediately. So I think that's the way I'm going to go, actually. I think this optically looks good, but they just immediately fixing it in long term gets you nothing. So I'm going to go here. Okay, so my move was okay. I do not like bishop d7. Okay, I guess maybe if I still want to control this diagonal and that's my goal, maybe. And the other thing maybe is this rook wants to come here so desperately that we don't want to take another move. Okay, so this is a little annoying. If we take, we have an isolated d pawn. It's not the worst because their pawn is covering up our weakness. But if we take, it also lets them, I don't know, have a nice half open file on our king. If we push by, that e-pawn looks incredibly weak to me. If we let them take us, that looks really bad. I don't like them having that passer. Although, well, let's calculate. Let's not say it looks really bad. Let's say they take, we take. The pawn can't be pushed. We're covering that many, many times. It is a very weak pawn. So maybe they can't take right away. We could also play f6 to support that pawn. I don't really know what I want to do here. The more I look at it, the more unsure I am. Another thing I'm looking at, though, is e takes f4, queen takes f4, h6 giving the hatch, and also setting up this skewer. Let's see what you guys are looking at. Bishop d7 now, you think. Okay, so that was before. Yep. f5, push our majority. Okay. So if we play f5 and they take, then it sounds like you're going to be happy taking back. We've now made a pass pawn up the middle. Then we can play like e4 and it looks quite scary. Okay, I like it, Daniel, because I was leaning towards taking. I think I like your idea better. Let's go with Daniel's idea. Let's play f5. f5 is a mistake. Not a huge mistake, but a mistake nonetheless. And of course I missed the arrow of y. So that's unfortunate. Maybe I can do it again and it'll show me the arrow again. Okay. The reason is because rook c1. What? Maybe it's rook c1, c4 is annoying. Well, the other idea I had was taking... I don't know. I don't love taking, but I'm going to try it, I guess. That was my other idea. Taking is fine. Bishop here. Okay. I feel like we're in basically the same spot. Do we want to like move the rook over to e8? Do we want to take now and then our bishop is uncovered? The problem is c3 kind of squashes everything. I can't play rook c8 and get much out of it. Removing the e5 pawn doesn't do that much, which makes me think, is there some world where I want to play b4? But I don't think so. They could even maybe just push by. So you know what I kind of like? Bishop c7, c8, bishop b7, what I was already talking about. I don't know. Rook c8 seems fine. Let's do that. b4 hangs the pawn. b4. Oh, yeah. The pawn on a6 is hanging. Right. Okay. Let's try this. Big mistake. Because of f takes e5. Oh, right. Because the rook is covering f7. So that was a big mistake. That is true. Fully acknowledge that. I think we just take the pawn on e4 or f4. Let's just take it. My move is okay. Instead, they just drop the rook back. Okay, seems reasonable. What do you guys think? Take with the bishop or take with the pawn, and why? I think it's pretty clear, but I don't know. I'm curious to see what you guys think. Maybe g6, bishop b7, bishop g7. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, that could have been a good idea. I like it. What do we think here? Why do we keep doing this? Do we take with the pawn, take with the bishop, or I guess we could just move the bishop. We could go like bishop g5, threatening the rook. What do you guys think? We already have an isolated pawn. Yeah, I'm with you, Daniel. I think the whole point of moving back was so that we could recapture with the bishop. Because I think I could see someone be tempted to say, well, what's the difference between an isolated pawn here and an isolated pawn here? But the isolated pawn on d6 is covered by their pawn. It's not actually a target. And then also by moving the bishop up, we are protecting the pawn. And I don't know, this diagonal on h2 looks pretty good. So it feels to me like the whole point of this was to be able to take with the bishop. Okay, so the knight has come into the game. Do we take the knight? Do we ignore the knight? Do we pressure the knight somehow? We could pressure the knight with b4, trying to undermine it. We could take it. They could take back. I don't know. I'm going to say with the queen, probably. I don't really love any of those moves. We do have to keep an eye on f7 now. I kind of like bishop c8, bishop b7. I like, okay. Oh, never mind. If we do that, then they get to put the knight on c6. Threatening the rook, and kind of annoying. And hitting our bishop and not winning a pawn, but making things messy. I don't think I want to let them do that. I'm having a very hard time here finding a move I like. So let's look at our pieces. Which ones are the worst? That rook on b8 seems to be doing nothing unless it's supporting a b4 push. Which could be reasonable, I suppose. Actually, a b4 push. It hangs a6. We don't want to do that. I'm also looking at our queen suddenly not looking that great. Maybe the queen could go to b6. Maybe c5. Rook b to e8 looks pretty reasonable. I think I like that best. g6 to restrict the knight. Okay. That seems very reasonable also. Giving the bishop a place to drop back to. I think I like rook e8. The best engine move is my move, and then this is a good move. Okay. So they play a3. What's a3 doing? I guess it's stopping, like, permanently the b4 push. Like, now I want to go rook e8 and then probably at some point dropping the bishop back. I don't think there's any hurry in dropping the bishop back. Yeah, so Daniel's on board with this one as well. Is the best engine move. Plays a4. Okay, so we're like really going down the minority attack path. Probably now b4 is the move. If they take with the a pawn, we take back. They let us take with the c pawn. Take the c pawn. They take with the b pawn. It's pretty standard minority attack stuff. If they push by with the c pawn, how does that work? So we play b4. They take. We take. Then c4. It's backed up by the bishop. I don't know. I don't really see anything, but I'm gonna guess he plays b4 because that's what he's looking towards. Okay, that seems very strange to me to take with the c pawn. I thought they would take the other way. I guess we gotta move the queen. Move the queen to where? b7 looks good. But what about bishop f3? Is that annoying? So we could also go bishop b6. Bishop b6 looks quite good, actually. It's threatening to straight up win that knight. They have to defend it somehow. Then we can play b4 takes a3. Make those pawns even weaker. So I think that was good to me. Bishop takes d4. Okay, let's look at it. Let's look at it. Bishop takes d4. Queen takes d4. Queen takes rook. We win easily. Bishop takes d4. We're up a piece. Rook takes queen. We take their queen. We are up just a piece. They can take our piece on d7. And we still have a piece under fire on f2. That looks even. But what does even mean here material-wise? Let's look at it one more time. Bishop takes d4. Rook takes c7. Bishop takes f2. Rook takes d7. So it's our move. They're threatening d6, which we could stop by playing bishop c3. Would free up our rook now because we don't have to deal with it. Yeah, I think this is better. I think Daniel's move might be good. because I like the idea of trading queens here. Like, our queen looks a lot worse. So the idea is takes, there, we're even, comes back to here. Yeah, I don't know. I think your move is good, Daniel. It's a big mistake. Okay, I still think it looks like a reasonable move. I don't understand why. I think after the game, hopefully we'll remember to look at that with the engine and determine why that was not a good move. So let's go here instead. Now I'm not so certain I want to take here. This is a nice pass pawn. Our pawn is now vulnerable. If I put my rook on c8 first, then they can take our bishop on e5. I'm not sure that that's good. You also have to remember our queens are touching. What if we play queen takes queen, rook takes queen, bishop takes c6, d takes c6. It feels like they're hitting our bishops. We have to move the bishop then immediately. I don't know if I like that. Queen takes, rook takes, bishop takes, pawn takes. Oh, bishop takes, pawn takes. Rook c8. We're only attacking it once. They're defending it once. I don't really think I want to take that. I think I just want to move the rook over. Queen takes queen, bishop takes, or bishop takes g7? Huh? I don't know what that means. I am gonna go here. Nope. Hang the queen? My great idea was hanging the queen. Okay, obviously we're going to take the queen. Okay, I guess we don't. They can take our queen? What? Why not just win the exchange first? Win the exchange. Queen takes queen. Rook takes queen. A2. They just go back. I don't understand that. Bishop, oh, just going back, bishop g7, yeah. Okay. I don't quite get this. They take. Now, bishop takes, pawn takes. Rook c8 is starting to win the pawn. They could double, though. What about... No, rook b5 does not work. I don't think I want to take that rook. I mean, that knight. To be honest, that knight's not that scary. What if we just went bishop g7 and said, you can have that knight there. It looks nice, but it's not that great. Okay. The answer is I will push the a pawn and win that way. Okay. Kind of looking at like bishop takes, pawn takes, rook c8, rook c1. I don't know. I thought I saw some back row mate stuff, but now I'm not seeing anything. Could go rook a8, threatening the pawn. Yeah, that seems good. Then they have to like stick a rook behind it, and then maybe we can pressure the knight here. Alright, so they just move. Why not bishop f5? I don't see a compelling reason not to. Let's do that. It's a huge mistake because of knight c4 forking the rook and the pawn. Even though I'm hitting their rook, I don't really see why that's so bad. How about bishop a4, attacking the rook and blocking the pawn? Still knight c4. Wait. Okay, alright. My mistake. I'm apparently in La La Land. Obviously, we have to take back. Right. You guys are like, their knight is hanging and they just took our bishop. And I'm like, I don't know. Okay, yeah. That's not great. Okay. What's interesting is Fischer wins here. How is Fischer better is the question. I think the answer relies in our superior pawns. They have these two passed pawns, which might be tempting to look at as good things, but I don't know. They look a little bit like liability since we have so much material on the board. We get to pile up on them. And then in the meantime, we can press F5, E4 and have this beautiful pawn chain with a passed pawn at the end of it. So I'm thinking I want to do something like Rook D6 to pressure the pawn, or Rook A5 to pressure the pawn, or Rook A6 to pressure this pawn. I think I like starting here. Okay, so my move is okay. Going here instead of the very active move. I don't think I want to trade bishops and let them have that rook on D7. Though I will win their pawn. So it's like I take their bishop, they take mine, I win the pawn on A3. As long as I can control this D5 pawn, I'm going to be fine. I'm worried that they're going to immediately play rook D1. And then they have a pawn behind, a rook behind their passer. But then I'm wondering, can I play rook A2? I've got rooks on the second rank. That seems incredibly strong. So I think we can do this. We win both a pawn. We get rooks on the second rank. Their pawn is still down on D5. I think this works. Okay, so the engine says it's good. They went here instead. Oh, that looks like it win. Oh, okay. No, it doesn't win on the spot. I was thinking bishop E4 was a winning move because it's check and their bishop is being hit, but they get to play bishop F3 to block the check. So then the question becomes, if I take the bishop here and they take me, is that better or worse? It looks worse to me. Our pawn structure is worse than it was before. So maybe here I go bishop E4, they block, I take, they take with the rook. Then I don't get the pawn either. Wow, I don't know. I'm not seeing it though. Okay, I just don't think this is as good as my plan was, but that's fine. Now what? I don't think I want to hang the bishop. I could take the bishop. Rook takes. I could go like rook to D8 to pressure the pawn. They move the rook over. Their king is stuck on the back rank. Not really sure. Daniel likes rook B1 now. Maybe that was before. I'm going to take. Okay. So my move was okay, not wonderful. Instead, we went to here. They pushed the pawn. Can I play rook takes A3 followed by D7? I don't think so. Their rook is just hanging. So I take it. They play D7. I go rook A to D8. They play rook C8. I take. They get a queen. Can I make bishop takes F8 work? That's the question. Or bishop takes F1. Bishop takes F1, push the pawn. And then can I go rook D2? They play rook C8. I play king g7. They take my rook, I take the pawn. I think this works. My calculation says this works. I did not notice they were hitting my rook. Oh no. I'm falling apart here. I guess rook d8 doesn't seem amazing. Maybe bishop b5 to stop d7. Also, I could go king g7 to stop some of the shenanigans. I think I like that better. Okay, my move is fine. Wait, I could take the pawn? Oh my. Yeah, remember when I said my brain was not doing great? It's really not doing great now. I'm missing everything now. Goodness. If I was playing a game, it would be very challenging. Okay, so we are still even. We haven't made our passed pawn yet, which it feels like we could have made several times already. We could go rook a6, threatening the a pawn. They could go rook e7, threatening to go rooks on the 7th and do some good stuff. There, mate. I think this puts a lot of pressure on them. It does not, because they can come back and guard it. Check. They move up. I don't see anything from there. I don't know. I do not know the answer. I'm going to just check. I don't think that's right either. No, that is not right. Daniel had to work hard for that #1 fan title. Yep. Okay. I don't know. I don't know what to do here. Lots of moves seem fine, but nothing's quite great. Could go here and threaten the pawn. Nope. I'm gonna ask for a hint, I guess. Move to f6. That's quite a hint. I think we want to move the rook to f6. We can attack the bishop a second time. If they take, it's mate. If they take with the rook, we take with the bishop threatening mate. They move back, then a3 falls. So I think this works. Okay, my move was clearly best, it said. But this move seems pretty good still. Guess we go here? No. We go there. Ah, right, because it's pinned. Let me go here. What? Oh, and that's it. Because after rook moves, king moves, and then this guy is falling. Okay. Wow, that was a very sudden end. Daniel found it. I definitely did not find that sudden end. So let's take a look real quick. See what we can glean from this. So the opening, I was able to play perfectly up until here. The opening's book says the #1 move here is knight b to d7. Let's just see what that would look like. The most common move here is a4 for white. And then here's a good example. If they come in here, it's kind of split here. Some people take with the knight, some people take with the bishop. There's not like a clear right or wrong answer, which kind of surprises me. Let's see if the engine gives us a clear answer. The engine says it's not going to work. Let me see if it's because it's running somewhere else. This one is against Pilnik Herman. So shut that one. And now it will work, the engine. Okay. The engine likes bishop takes over knight takes, but I don't know. I imagine they're both pretty similar. Okay. But he went queen c7, which is a perfectly fine move. This queen move is, wow, it is it is unheard of. Okay. And then the engine does like b5 here. Likes b5 every time. And this is a weird move, right? Like when our opponent made this move, I was like, yeah, this is a weird move. It can't be right. And the engine agrees that is not a great move. b4 here, the engine likes a lot. And then, wait, what was the move? We're looking at this. Okay, the engine says this is good too. It's going to lead to similar ideas, but the engine also likes taking with the pawn. Okay. So, wait, this rook move seems so strange. Yeah, the engine really does not like this rook move. Okay, so instead it wants us to move the knight. Whether that be c4 or a4, it likes both much better. Okay, and then after this trade, this rook just looks weird. Okay, they play f4, and then here we're just, you know, lots of moves are fine. It's basically an even game, though. So Fischer went from being up almost 2 to basically even. And feelings-wise, I agree. This feels like a pretty even game, whereas not that long ago, when we were back here, and they moved this rook move, things seemed pretty good for me. But then it's just kind of all slipped away, so we didn't do anything with it. Now it's just even. Okay. We're all making best moves here. Engine likes moving the rook over a lot more, but whatever. It's not that big of a difference. The engine doesn't love the minority attack, but says it's fine. And now we're just in a fairly even-ish game where white has like a slight advantage. And now we're really even. And this is dead even. And that was terrible. Okay. So here the engine says that... Wait, what? That is so fascinating. So here, the engine says rook c7 is equal. And you're like, okay. And you move rook c7, and then it goes, never mind, it's 1.74. That seems odd. Oh yeah, I did want to look at that. Okay, let's go back for a second. Good call there. I knew there was something I wanted to look at, and I just couldn't remember. So the question was here. Do we take with the knight or do we take with the bishop? The engine says taking with the knight is okay and taking with the bishop is much, much better. Which is interesting. The question will be, can we figure out why the engine likes it so much better? That's always the challenge. So following the engine's line, it would be something like that. King moves to safety. Then we can play a5. And I'm not seeing the reason why this knight is better. So, I don't know. It's interesting. You think taking the F bishop was better? Okay. Whoops, wrong way. So let's continue with this game. We're going to finish this in a moment. I'm out of juice here. So we've got this minority attack that happens, the trade of the queens, and then sort of the question of the moment, what do we do here? This rook move, the engine, I think, doesn't like until we see white's response, and then the engine changes his mind dramatically. As long as we play bishop f5. Any other move does not get the advantage. He does play bishop f5. I think it's because of this idea. We can go to e4 now. Okay, so... Woo! What? Okay. I was like, huh? Okay, so yeah. So that was the reason. You could go there. And then this forces all kinds of interesting things where now you're hitting the rook. And pushing the pawn is losing. Okay. Because of what we saw with rook d8, rook e1, and if we take, we win. And it's interesting because this is still even, but that a pawn is just so weak, and now our opponent's king is weak, which is kind of a big deal, right? We finally, I think it's more the king weakness, right? We finally exploited with this move here. We've really exploited the weakness, and then now we have choices of how we want to do this, right? I'm forgetting, what did I want to do? I wanted to I don't even remember. But the answer, okay, wait, I think I have it in my notation here. I was looking at I don't know. I don't see it. Okay. Well, takes, and then pin, and the king can't go here to defend it, and that's it. So, a really interesting end to this game where it looked pretty even. Even this move didn't look that dramatic to me. In fact, it's not. It's even. It's really this move. It's g4. So it's kind of fascinating, right? Like, it's so late in the game that you're like, I mean, kingside attack won't be that strong. And then just this g4 move suddenly, like, allows for this rook to get in here and cause the king a whole bunch of problems. So really interesting end, I think. I think my takeaways are, like, the opening, we played pretty smoothly. I don't know, it seems like Fischer missed a bunch of small opportunities, but that tactic at the end, boom, on it. White is fixated on winning f7. Yeah, good point. White gets too fixated on winning f7 and then gets crushed there. Boxy has asked me if I want to end with a blitz game. I would almost always say yes, and today I'm going to have to say no, my friend. My brain has reached its capacity for today. It is it's overtaxed these days, going back to school and having other issues. But I'm hoping the next couple of days we're going to have some of this worked out, and we will play again soon. Thanks for coming by, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this one. We got a nice puzzle rush in. We got to see a good example of another Najdorf game. The more bishop e2 games I can see, the better. I'm really needing to go deeper and deeper with it's not necessarily the theory, but it's like the plans and how to execute the moves that I do know, and how to use them better. So I will see you all next time. Thanks, everybody.